Hey, what's going on, Minnesota Viking fans? Welcome to the Purple People podcast. My name is Kyle Smith, and this week I am joined by Adam Carlson. What's going on, sir?
What's going on?
Happy to have you back, man. Kyle West is working, trying to make a living, so we will not fault him for that. He's not fired yet.
You got to pay those bills.
Well, this is episode number 419. Dude looks like a Brady, and that was a game yesterday.
That was a football game.
That was a football game, a Minnesota Viking football game.
I personally enjoyed the first quarter.
I enjoyed the first and the fourth. Pretty much everything in between that didn't like so much, but it was nice to see the Vikings go up against a so-called super team. And barring some weird stuff, we're going to have to go really in depth on tonight. I think they did okay. I think this is just a pure reflection of this year.
Well, you can look at this any way you want. And I've seen so many different takes from so many different Vikings fans online, whether it was the Vikings kicking curse or the refs trying to protect Tom Brady at all costs. I've seen so many different narratives.
Sure.
Because, of course, you've got the Kirk Cousins doubters, blame it on Kirk, not putting enough points on the board.
Whatever.
You've seen them all, though. I mean, all these fans are out there. And, of course, it isn't just one of those narratives. It's a combination of so many things going on. But, yeah, that was a rough game. And for me, what hurt me the most watching that game was seeing the Vikings try to do everything they could to take a depleted offensive line and watch it get knocked down even more and then fill it in any way they could to just keep people on the field.
Yeah, that was rough. And I rolled my eyes when you said the Cousins haters. We've said it many times on the show. I'm not in love with the guy, but it's kind of like me if I bitched about my car every day and then I got in and drove it and didn't change it for 3 years. Obviously, I like it to some degree. Yesterday was nothing in the way of Kirk Cousins' fault. Yes, he wasn't perfect. Yes, there were some plays he'd like back, but he was getting beat up and pressured yesterday. He rushed way more than we've ever seen him do. And I think he tried his best, but it was one of those days where the Vikings couldn't catch a break and they honestly couldn't get out of their own way. The penalties came at the worst times in the worst position of the field. And it was just, we've said it every week this year. Every game the Vikings have is never just, okay, back and forth, okay, whatever. Oh, man, the game's over. They won. Or, man, they lost, but it was close. It's just a weird game.
Yeah, Kirk absorbed a dozen hits during that game. Last week it was 13 or 14 or something like that. This week it's another dozen. So, I mean, credit to him for standing in there. And this week we saw him use his legs a bit more to try to get away from a little bit of that pressure and pick up some yardage on the ground. So he's trying. He's doing everything he can. And I don't know what Minnesota can really do because they've invested quite a bit, whether it's both in salary cap or draft picks and getting this offensive line, trying to get it going and in some sort of shape, and it's just not working out.
It's rough. That's funny. Cliff's in here giving us the comments that we all are thinking.
Not even on the team. He's like, why is Tristamia in the league?
I don't know, man. That's a project the Vikings should just wash their hands of. I don't know. Maybe if he showed some kind of semblance next year, but I don't even want to give him the chance, honestly. I'd rather take my shot on a rookie stepping in like Edward Cleveland and hoping that it works out. I don't know. I can't answer that question. The Dan Bailey stuff, that's too easy. We're going to do that later.
That's some low-hanging fruit we'll eat later.
Yeah, we'll do that later. That's too easy to address. Kyle West is not here, but I will go through our chat and I will talk about that shortly. But let's give away some game balls and donkeys. I'll let you go first, sir.
For me, this was a tough one because I want to split it between two people. I want to pull a Kyle West and do that. But I thought that both of the tight ends that were backing up Kyle Rudolph in this game since Rudolph were out, I think that this was a really good example of why that extension for Kyle Rudolph wasn't worth it. Because these two guys came in and they just played their tails off and had great games. They were number 1 and 2 in receiving yardage. So I'm going to have to go with the guy that caught the touchdown and had more yardage. So I guess we'll go with Irv Smith.
Well, this is easy. This is easy for me then, because if it wasn't Smith, I was going to pick Conklin. I hate to double down on what you said, but not to pick on the defense yesterday. They weren't horrid. I just think that it's one of those times where when you take one play off, or they find that one time where you get like the single high safety and Anthony Harris gets beat that one lone time in a game and ends up going for a touchdown. It's rough. So I'm not going to pick on them. I'm not going to pick on the offensive line. It was patchwork like you had mentioned, but I'll give mine to Tyler Conklin. I mean, I had a bunch of guys, we were watching it at work yesterday, and they're like, who the hell is that guy? That's a reasonable answer there, because that is our third string tight end. So
yeah.
And just to back up your point, I don't want him to leave. I want him to restructure, but I don't know that that's going to be possible because he's been paid so much. I'd love to see Kyle Rudolph stay and retire in Viking and stay there the whole time. But you're right. I think it's time to move on from him. That's definitely something that this team's going to look into for money next season. And
it just still baffles me to use a second rounder there and then still commit to your past second rounder with more money after committing that draft pick. And we've seen spots where a younger, more versatile tight end would have been just advantageous to have on the field. And that money could have been allocated towards a position where they just needed more help.
Yeah, and you know what's weird? I think I speak for a lot of people. I love that usage right there, Gronklin. I love that, Cliff. Thank you so much for that.
I just call him Conky, and I picture that robot that gives the word of the day from Pee-wee.
Oh, that's funny. I thought you said we'd say Conky like Donkey Kong. That's funny.
Yeah, Conky.
That's awesome, dude. Oh, man. I think I'm just going to say I don't know where this team goes in the offseason because there's just so many question marks, and it's everywhere. Minus Kirk Cousins, they're going to stay with him for at least another year.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook's pretty set. I mean, the skill players are there, but you could still add a wide receiver. Tajay Sharp was released today. So I don't know what you do outside of those two, but there are so many. I guess that's a good thing in the draft. You're not going to be worried about missing out on one player because there are so many needs for this team right now.
And it's so weird to see Tajay Sharp get released because it's not like this Vikings team is deep at wide receiver. They're really not. And the players that they're trying to hold on to, I mean, they're trying to make Chad Beebe into something. And I appreciate that. But this game, he was, 0 for 3 on targets?
Yeah.
Just nothing was working out.
You know, complete opposite from last week where he redeemed himself and pretty much got the game-winning touchdown to say, or at least to send it over. So what's up, Mark? Thanks for joining us on Facebook. We really appreciate it.
Then again, this week he also got absolutely creamed again on a potential punt return. That poor guy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could segue there after the Donkeys. I mean, do we even need to talk about it? Dan Bailey, I'm sorry, man. I know it feels almost sad and criminal to pick him because I feel like he might even be hurt. But I don't know what the deal is.
I don't know any of the details behind it. I don't know if there's an issue with the new snapper. I don't know if there's an issue with the hold. I don't know if Bailey himself is going through some pains or what's going on. So I hate to pick on the guy, but when you leave that many points on the field, it's just hard to say anything else because when you're a kicker, you got one job, kick the football.
Sure. And I'd like to go even further on that is 10 points. All right. We lost by 12, correct? But think about that. When you kick a field goal and you miss at 50 some yards, you give the other team pretty much middle of the field starting position. And I don't know if you guys do your analytics or if you can just do basic math, but the farther back that a team has to go to stretch the field for a drive, the less likely they are to score. You're giving Tom Brady a chance to score points or at least to get their kicker out there. And I really truly believe if he went 3 of 3 and 1 of 1 yesterday, Dan Bailey, I mean, I do believe the Vikings win this game because I think the defense did fine.
And I'm going to say it again. If this game had Eric Kendricks at linebacker, it's a different game.
Oh, 100%.
I am missing that guy so much.
I didn't see the walk of shame, Cliff, but I can imagine that it was pretty bad. I feel bad for the guy because historically, all time, Dan Bailey's up there. I mean, he's got a great career, but this is not the way you want to see any player go out. This is like Peyton Manning last year in the league bad. Oh, man, that was really hard to watch.
And the game could have been a lot worse, too, because there were some times when Tom Brady just overshot his receiver and things just didn't work out for the connection. And to see that overthrow from him to Gronk just kind of blows my mind because that's a combination that's been deadly for years.
Yeah, that was hard to watch. And I'm not going to say I'm surprised. It had to happen at some point. But I also don't believe that I also don't believe that this is all his fault. I mean, you got to give some of the blame to the coach there, but I'm not here to talk about Tom Brady and the Bucs. They did enough to win. They took well enough advantage of the mistakes the Vikings made, which they made pretty bad ones at the worst time. But yeah, it was weird to see because you've seen Brady at the top so long and being clutch. And even going into yesterday, they said, oh, I don't know if Brady can throw the deep ball. That pass to that wide receiver I had no idea existed until yesterday was pretty beautiful.
Yeah.
Just going over stuff before we break down some stats here. The playoff picture changed again yesterday because the Vikings lost. They are the first team out right now in the hunt, as they call it, number 8. They are above the Bears, Lions, and 49ers with that head-to-head game breaker over there. Now they play the Bears again Sunday, so if they can sweep the Bears this year, they'll stay in that spot. Right now, this is the scenario. The Vikings have to win out, which is going to be very hard because Chicago's not going to be easy. Going to New Orleans, I'm almost guaranteeing that's a loss. And then the Lions, they're always a little tough to play. But if the Vikings do come out with 3 more wins straight on, they have to hope that the Arizona Cardinals lose and they can squeak into that 7 spot. So not having everything in your control is really going to come back to bite them.
Yeah, if they're going to get in, it's going to be that number 7 spot, and it's going to be just barely. I don't know if Minnesota has to absolutely win out. I'd say that 2 losses from Arizona in their final 3 games and 3 wins from Minnesota would do the trick. Or, they've got to get that one more win to somehow tie up their records. And I think Minnesota would still have the tiebreaker, but now they have no tiebreaker against Tampa Bay if they can get back up there because, of course, Tampa Bay won the head-to-head.
Well, the thing that's weird to me, and I mentioned it in our chat today, but last year the Vikings were 10-6. And they can't get to that record this year, obviously, with 7 losses. But it was weird because they were 2-4 in the division, which was awful. Got swept by the Bears and the Packers. They could go 5-1 in the NFC North this year and miss the playoffs. And that would be just mind-boggling to me. It's great to see that you beat the divisional opponents, but, man, that 1-5 starter is really showing its ugly face right now. It's just rough. Who knows, man? 8-8 get in or 9-7 get in. I'm totally okay with that. But you got to see him win out. Hopefully, that's the best case scenario. And yes, I missed Danielle Hunter too, John.
Absolutely,
that's a good comment. Cliff Tang says, "Could you compare this to the Cody Parkey missed field goal?" No, I can't because Cody Parkey made some extra points and field goals in that game. He's got
the double doink that doesn't even really compare because that's close even.
Yeah, that one that sailed on his right, left on the screen yesterday, I mean, it was almost 15 yards away from the field goal post. It was terrible.
Normally, I praise Ezra Cleveland, but this might be his worst game as a pro. He let so many people right past him and just had himself a day where his pass protection was just absolutely brutal. And I still think there's a good future for this young man. I do. But he's going to have to learn from his mistakes in this game because you cannot allow that much pressure directly back on Kirk Cousins. I've got Pro Football Focus up here, and it says he's surrendered 4 total pressures and 2 of them turned into sacks. And when you're in the middle there, that's the direct path right there to Kirk Cousins. It's just not good.
Well, there's an interesting take right there. Cliff Tang says, this is what's going to happen, which I love. Hot, bold takes. We beat the Bears and New Orleans, but we lose to Bevel and the Lions. AP retires knowing he beat his former team. Wow. I'm going to go ahead and say no because AP's not retiring because he has cash. No. He's got checks to cash. And He ain't getting out of the league until they make him leave. That dude is so in debt, it's
He's got
ridiculous.
bills to pay. He's got mouths to feed.
I don't think they'll lose to the Lions. I think they're going to get their ass kicked by New Orleans pretty bad. But I think that they can beat the Bears. Mitch Trubisky coming back definitely is an issue for this team for whatever stupid reason. He looked good yesterday too, surprisingly. But
yeah, the Bears they looked like a different team.
John
David
Young
Montgomery with an 80-ish yard run. That was nuts.
It's crazy what happens when you let the running back do his job. John Young says Eagles Cardinals could go our way with Hurts, though. I'm not going to lie. He looks way better than Carson Wentz does this year. Carson Wentz is the worst quarterback in football this year, and that surprised me a lot. But with that mobility threat, I think he could win. I think the Eagles could win the NFC East with him at quarterback, but that's just my opinion.
Me and Smith here have had plenty of back and forth on Carson Wentz, and I usually take the negative approach to him because I just don't see it. I don't see the future franchise quarterback there when I watch him play. And Mr. Smith says he did. And yeah, I can understand why you did with that run he made where he looked like he could have been an MVP contender for that season until he got hurt. But yeah, I mean, it's watching his true colors kind of come out a bit. Oof, it's been rough.
Even I was a supporter of Carson Wentz up to last year. I was working in Virginia, and I watched him play the Falcons, and he made this crazy Deshaun Watson type conversion on third down. He escaped a sack, which I still don't know how he did it to this day. And I was like, man, this team sucks. If they can build around him, they can be all right. And then seeing the wild overthrows and the terrible decisions, I'm like, this is a terrible investment by Philly, and this is going to get the GM fired. Really
and you
bad.
can also go back and like Case Keenum looked like a franchise quarterback with Minnesota.
Exactly.
It's those long stretches of success that can really make a quarterback's payday or career, even if they're not an excellent quarterback. And I think Joe Flacco is one of the best examples of that. He was an average quarterback, and then he got hot at the right time, had got an extremely high-profile win, brought the team to the Super Bowl, got a win there. And then for a while, his name was mentioned among the elite quarterbacks in the league.
12 touchdowns and no picks through the playoffs. Ridiculous. And that was a great Super Bowl, too. It wasn't like fluky, I forget his name, Trent Dilfer for the Ravens and with the 2000 win. No, he balled out in the playoffs. And I think any Viking fan out there would absolutely love to have that happen just one year. They all want to see this team win just at least one. And I'd be fine with that.
I thought Favre was going to give the Vikings fans that moment.
That would have been so sweet.
Close.
That would have been so sweet. This is my buddy Matt. He says, in the second half, it seemed like every time you felt Minnesota was going to make a run, the line would give up an untimely sack.
Yeah,
I'm looking here. Kirk Cousins was sacked 6 times yesterday. Tom Brady, 0.
Yeah.
You got to think, especially in the latter years of New England, when he had pretty much established himself in the top 5 ever, coming in on that GOAT conversation, and especially in Brady, it's got to be like an unspoken thing there. If you let the quarterback get sacked, it's not going to be a good week for you, especially for that guy. So I'm not surprised to see the Bucs not give up sacks, but to see Kirk Cousins get sacked 6 times, that's some crap we see the Vikings do to Detroit.
If offensive linemen got the love they deserved when it came to awards, Tristan Wirfs should be eligible for Offensive Player of the Year. He will never get it.
Right.
But he has been having one heck of a season for Tampa Bay.
I didn't know that. I'm glad that I learned something new about an offensive lineman today. Thank you, Adam Carlson. Scott Swab, what's up, man? Skull, not a fan of this week, though. Rough. Yeah, I mean, shout out to my buddy Dave at work. Huge Philadelphia Eagles fan. Great guy. He said, Kyle, what am I doing today with these bets? I said, don't bet on Minnesota today. I have a terrible feeling. He's like, well, the spread is 7. I was like, I think they're going to lose by at least 10. I just got a feeling today. And I'm not sure that was luck. I'm not a psychic, obviously. But, yeah, that was rough to watch. You want the team to win. I always want them to win. I want them to win every game.
So do you think the Vikings are going to get some apology letters from the NFL for missing a few of those calls from Minnesota? I think they'll get one for the flying forearm to Kirk Cousins' head. I think they'll get one for that. I think they'll get a letter saying we're sorry.
They may get a letter saying that they're sorry, but they're never. It's not. It doesn't change anything now. You know what I mean? It's one of those come and go. What's that going to do for us right now? You still lost the game and you didn't call it. I'm not a fan of the call on Harrison Smith. Now I understand that in this league right now that is a foul. That according to the rules, that is a foul. I think that rule is trash, and I think they need to look at that. The guy can't just stop on a dime and stand straight up. I don't know what is he supposed to do there? He's still got to pursue the football. So I hate that call. I hate that Chad Beebe didn't get a call from helmet to helmet. The Kirk Cousins call you're talking about. And let's just go ahead and talk about it now. Let's talk about the Hail Mary call. That call in particular has not been called for 11 seasons. Are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me, man?
Now, I understand because the defender wasn't turned around that, it was technically pass interference. I get it. But that's just kind of a situation where I've never seen it called that way. And I don't think it'll be called that way in the future. But wow. And then the hand fighting that resulted in what should have been an interception.
Oh, awful. Just awful. Are you talking about the Mike Evans?
Yeah.
Oh, that one in the end zone, I feel bad for Jeff Gladney. These corners are actually coming along great. Mike Zimmer gave them a lot of love today in the Monday press conference. But
Tampa's receiving core is no joke.
They're great. When Antonio Brown is an option and he's not the 1 or the 2, you know that's a stacked receiver core because he's been quiet since he's been there.
Rob Gronkowski's option 4.
That's crazy. Some kid that scored. If you would have asked me yesterday, who's going to score a touchdown for Tampa Bay, I would have said Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski. That would have been it. 3's enough.
Probably Ronald Jones too.
But yes, can't leave the running back out. I don't even remember the kid's name, and it was yesterday. And he caught a bomb. No Antonio Brown. There was like 2 catches from him yesterday or something like that. This is just such a weird year. What a weird season.
Yeah, I feel for Chad Beebe. He's been getting just absolutely bashed around. And
I don't know how he was playing this week after that catch in the end zone. He literally went straight up, got pushed, and he landed on his butt cheek from like 7 feet.
Oh, yeah, just went thud.
Oh, he's still holding on the ball, though. That's good. Scott Schwab says he misses Hunter as well, Griffin too. Think how much experience we'll have on D next season. Same goes for the corners. Yeah, having Hunter back will be great. I think they should still be on the lookout for another defensive end. I like Afadi. I don't love him. Maybe they'll stick with Wanham. Who knows? Michael Pierce coming back will be a game changer for the team. Kendricks coming back will be great, fully healthy. What do you think? Let's talk about it now. Do you think Anthony Barr returns?
This season? No.
Not this season. Next year.
Oh, yeah. Why wouldn't he?
I see under contract still. It's not a contract year.
No, I think the Vikings have him for 3 or 4 more years.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll take him back too. We have 3 very good linebackers on the team, so that's cool. Corners will have a year under their belt.
Excellent tackler, and I think that having him on the edge does make a big difference with his speed. He might not be the elite pass rusher we all kind of hoped that he would be at that position.
Mm-hmm.
I think the combination of him, Kendricks, and Wilson could be very, very good.
No,
but I don't know if that's going to happen because Wilson, I don't know what he's going to cost.
John Young says, get Barr and change his position to defensive end. I don't think he's quite big enough to be a D end, but he's lanky. And I mean, I don't say he's lanky. He's not filled out.
And do you really want to take him away and put him on the line of scrimmage when the thing he's the best at is run support on that side? I don't know if I'd want to take that strength away from him. I get that he's fast and talented and everything, but personally, I'd rather just see what the team can do at defensive end with Jalen Holmes or DJ Wanham.
Switching gears a little bit. Sorry to take the wind out of those sails because I like talking about future stuff and position changes and all that fun stuff. Because of the NFL Sunday being over yesterday, the Browns and the Ravens are playing right now, which sounds like a good game. I think it's a 1-point game not too long ago, but the NFC playoff picture has changed tremendously. The Packers, with the Vikings loss yesterday and their win, won the NFC North again. They actually slid into the number 1 spot. They own a head-to-head tiebreaker over New Orleans. So that would give the Packers a bye week. and home field throughout as of right now. The Saints slipped into the second spot with a loss to the Eagles yesterday. The Rams sneakily are in the third spot at 9-4. They own head-to-head tiebreaker over the Seahawks. The Washington football team is fourth. The NFC East, they are 6-7, and they are quietly one of the, good Lord, the nastiest defenses out there. Really good. Ron Rivera doing his thing out there. And then rounding it out is the Seahawks, Bucks, and Cardinals now in the 7th spot since the Vikings lost. So we kind of know who's going to be good in the AFC, but I am so excited to watch the NFC playoffs because I believe true, and I mean this, any one of these teams could beat any of the other teams. It just depends on what happens.
Yeah, look at the NFC and I do see that it's going to be highly competitive. I look at the AFC and yeah, the Steelers are a good team.
They're all right.
But I don't see any team on there that is going to pose a major threat to the Chiefs.
A lot of Colts fans, my buddy Matt is a huge Colts fan. I know he believes in them. I think that the worst matchup for them are the Titans. If they can keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, I mean, why not? That's it. I don't know how the Bills are going to do. I know that they beat the Steelers last night in pretty sound fashion. Stephon Diggs looked good. Shout out to him. But it's going to be nice, I guess, just for general football talk to see the Browns at number 5 and then the Dolphins making the playoffs right now. If the Browns hold on and beat the Ravens, then the Dolphins will be right there in the thick of things. So it's going to be fun, but I'm really excited for these NFC playoffs coming up. Still hoping the Vikings can squeak in, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I believe Minnesota has a 20% chance right now, and that's not a very good chance. That's not really what you want to see. But a win this week would help to really drastically increase that because, of course, as you've mentioned before, the Chicago Bears are still in the playoff picture right now. They might not have a spot, but they're threatening. They got a chance. And Minnesota can do a little bit to repair what happened last week by trying to knock out a team from contention and help their own chances in the meantime. And while they don't control their own destiny anymore, they can't win out and hold a spot. They can do what they can. You can only do what you can do. That's what we always stress on the show. And I know that we've talked about it a lot with schedules and other things like that. You can only play who you're playing. And yeah, it would be great if Minnesota could have more matchups against the teams ahead of them in the playoffs to try to knock things down a little bit. But that didn't work out last week. And now Minnesota just has to win what they can until they can't anymore.
Yeah, and this Chicago game is not going to be easy, even though they're going to be at home. There aren't any fans, as we all know. Mitch Trubisky at quarterback certainly changes things. The defense is still really good. So it's going to be a tough game for them, but I think the Vikings can figure out a way to win.
Now, this game is in Minnesota, right?
Yep.
Okay, good, because I was going to say it's starting to look a little bit like winter now finally up here.
Yeah, that Monday night game was in Chicago, so that's good. The Vikings. This will be the last Vikings home game of the year. I believe they're in Minnesota. They go to New Orleans on Christmas Day, and then they are in Detroit to finish the year. So,
how do you feel about games on holidays?
I love them. I don't think that a lot of people are doing much but sitting at home with family and friends anyway. So, I personally like it. I kind of feel bad for the players not getting to celebrate, especially if you lose on Christmas. That kind of sucks. But yeah, Cliff is coming with the fire comments today in here. Lonely. Oh, that's sad.
I still think that Blair Walsh is getting such a bad rep, man. I know that he missed some kicks towards the end of his career, and there was quite a few of them at bad times, but the guy still holds so many Minnesota Vikings franchise records for kicking. He really, really looked like he was going to be an answer for the long, long time. And I don't know if anyone's going to break his records for the Vikings, but yeah, it's crazy to see how some kicker struggles can fall and happen at any time in Minnesota.
Now, we'll get the obvious out of the way since we have Blair Walsh comments in the chat. That playoff game against Seattle, obviously bittersweet. Lost the game winner, but scored the only points for the team that day. So he could have looked at everyone and be like, maybe you could do your job just a little bit better. I don't know. But he did kick us into the playoffs in 2012 in that Adrian Peterson MVP season. I watched that, and it was clutch. Beat the Packers to get in the playoffs. There's not much sweeter than that. So I'll give Blair Walsh some love. Like I said earlier, man, Dan Bailey's had a hell of a career. he was one of the highest percentage makes in history in the NFL, but that percentage has certainly dipped a little bit. But I don't know, man. He might be hurt. We might find out later that he's hurt because he was not even close yesterday.
To answer your question, though, about Anthony Barr is on long-term IR. The only player right now designated for return on IR is Mark Fields.
Okay. All right. Well, that'd be
Sorry
cool.
to come back to that.
No, that's all right. It's good to think about the future. It's going to be bright for Minnesota. They don't have
the Vikings are bringing in a kicker from the what is that former league that failed?
XFL.
No, other one.
Oh, the AAF.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And this kicker makes approximately 2/3 of his kicks at that level. So I don't know how seriously they have to be in considering bringing him in. But the Vikings also do have a kicker on their practice squad. Tristan Vizcaino? Is that how you pronounce that?
I have no idea.
And he has never kicked in an NFL game. And I don't see a reason why they can't do what they did with the Holder situation, kind of bring two kickers into the game and kind of just feel what's going on as the game happens. Maybe have Tristan make a few kick attempts and see what happens. And if things go smoothly, keep him in there and see what happens until someone falters.
I'm checking to see what this kid's name was because we shared this in the chat earlier. His Instagram handle is DEE Stroying.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Let's give this kid a chance. And I love the confidence here of these young kids in social media. He goes, NFL kickers out here struggling. And I'm out here kicking, smashing 60-piece chicken McNugget meals. Why not, man? I mean, it can't hurt. He's not going to miss any worse than Bailey did yesterday. I like the swagger. It's kind of like that punter that played for the Raiders, Marquette King. I don't know how he doesn't have a job. He must be a real pain in the ass in the locker room because, man, that guy has talent for days. But, yeah, I made the mistake of thinking that the Vikings kicker that got picked up by the Jags, Chase McLaughlin, is that his name?
Yeah.
I thought he was available today. Apparently got picked up between yesterday and today by the New York Jets, so that sucks for him. I'm sure.
Congratulations for him on keeping going with his NFL career. I know he's a young player, just hoping to find something. So the fact he can still stay in the league is big, considering how many young football players in that league are just trying their best to hold on to their dreams. So I hope he can get some more shots too, because he seems like a decent kicker.
Oh, yeah. I don't mean sucks for him that he got employed again. I'm happy to see him have a job. I just hate it's with that team. They're just awful. All right. As we do every week here. Actually, this is kind of my thing. I just force down your guys' throats, but it helps me read the game a little bit better. Let's go over some stats here. Kirk Cousins threw the ball 37 times, 24 completions, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. That means in the last 7 games, he has 16 touchdowns and 2 picks. Can't blame the guy this year. I don't see a lot that was his fault thus far. Maybe he can help turn it around and we can figure out a way to squeak in the postseason. Dalvin Cook had 22 carries yesterday for 102 yards and a touchdown, average 4.6. Really had to chug out those yards yesterday. His longest run was only 14 yards, but he was at it pretty hard. There was no Alexander Madison yesterday, so that means the second leading rusher on the team, and it wasn't even close, was Kirk Cousins with 5 attempts and 41 yards. Can we get a GoFundMe or some kind of way to get in touch with him to tell him to slide, please? Stop diving head first before you get killed. I don't hate you. I mean, I like you a lot. I'm not in love with you. I definitely don't hate you, Kirk. You're a great guy. You got to protect yourself, man. Figure that out, please. The team had a total of 33 attempts and 162 rushing yards yesterday. So not the most bright rushing day from the Vikings, but Dalvin Cook had another 100-yard game and a score, so that's cool. I believe he still leads the league in rushing touchdowns, so that's dope. Here's where it gets weird, though. Irv Smith and Tyler Conklin both led the team 1 and 2 respectively in yards yesterday and receptions. Irv Smith had 4 balls for 63 yards and a score. Tyler Conklin had 5 for 40. Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson had 3 and 4 apiece, both at 39 yards. So their corners did their job. Spreading the ball around pretty good yesterday. Mike Boone, Dalvin Cook, Amir Abdullah, CJ Ham, they all caught some balls. I'm so glad we still employ a fullback on this team. CJ Ham is awesome.
The CJ Ham offense was working pretty good for a little while there. They were working him hard.
I love it. I love that guy so much. Kirk Cousins fumbled the ball twice and lost one. That was rough to watch. Anybody in the chat not named Adam Carlson, could you tell me who the leading tackler was on the team yesterday? Because I bet you can't. I'll give you a second. Can we get a kicker with the swagger of McAfee? I don't think there's anybody that's going to match that dude. And whoever
recovers swanton off a wrestling cage into a bunch of people in the middle of the ring. Man, did you watch that video?
Yes, I did. And he's not going to blow you away with his wrestling, acting, and skills and all that. But
I don't know. He took that Panama Sunrise like a champ.
It was so good. He's a natural in there. I love it. I love everything that he does. He's a good person. And shout out to Pat McAfee too for catching your own kickoff, or was it like he got it past the 10 yards and just fell on it because he didn't want to die?
I always thought he was like a little bit of a loudmouth, and he is.
Sure.
But, he puts his money where his mouth is, and he sticks to his opinions, which is nice, because I won't name names, but there are a lot of sports analysts who waver a lot when it comes to their opinions on players and situations.
Names. Come on. We can throw him under the bus here. It's fine. All right, nobody jumped in yet. I can't believe this. Todd Davis, 7 total tackles yesterday, leading the team. Harrison Smith was number 2, and so was Eric Wilson with 6 apiece. There was only one pass defended, only 3 quarterback hits. It doesn't tell me how many pressures, and only 1 tackle for loss. So, no sacks.
Here's a fun question for you.
Uh-oh.
Who do you think was the highest graded defender for the Minnesota Vikings, according to Pro Football Focus?
Yesterday?
Yes. For that game.
I want a hint, but I can't take a hint. Let me think. I'm going to go out on a limb here. Chris Jones.
Close. He was 5th.
Okay.
First was Jalen Holmes, and he registered a 69.4. So that's actually not great.
Well then.
But Jalen Holmes is ranked 29th out of 100 at his position. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's playing pretty well. Meanwhile, offensively, a player rated 92.6, which is pretty unbelievable. Who do you think that was?
Irv Smith?
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking. I only guessed that because of the targets. He caught all 4 balls coming his way, 63 yards in his score, and he had a 25-er there, so that's cool.
Yeah, the 2 tight ends combined went 7 for 7. So that kind of efficiency, you can't replace that.
That's awesome.
Kirk Cousins rated 3rd offensively for the Vikings with 76.1. Conklin tied him with that rating. And second, believe it or not, the only offensive lineman to appear in the top 4
Garrett Bradbury
was Rashad Hill.
Woof.
I like Rashad Hill. I like him as a swing tackle. I like him as a filler. I wish he'd see more time when other players get hurt or when they need someone to step in, because he is underrated. 5th was Riley Reif, 73.1, who's, again, having a really good year. And Vikings fans wanted him gone. So I don't know.
I don't even want to think about that. Oh, God.
When you've got a left tackle that's doing a good job and you have so many needs at other spots, why pick at it? I get that he's making a lot of money, but left tackles in the NFL make a lot of money.
Yeah, especially if they're serviceable. I don't even care if you're top 5. Just be good enough to not get your quarterback killed. That's all. Especially this guy, because he's a fumbling issue and he's not the most mobile and athletic. So just keep him protected from his blind/backside. That's all I ask. Oh, God. We have to read the rest of these. No interceptions, no kick returns. Punt returns, Chad Beebe 2 for 15, average 7.5.
That's not worth it. That man's livelihood and his career is not worth 15 yards.
No, it's not. Britton Colquitt, 2 punts, 76 yards, along with 48. Dan Bailey, historically bad. I don't know that this has ever happened. Probably has, but I can't think of it.
They showed a graphic during the game that it hasn't happened in the modern era of the NFL.
Oof.
But they tracked one game down to where there were similar stats.
10 points left on the field by kicker Dan Bailey. 0 for 3 in field goals and 0 and 1 for extra points. He literally made nothing through the goalpost yesterday in 4 attempts. Ryan Suckett, 2 of 2 for field goals, 2 of 3 for extra points. So that's good for the Bucs, I guess. Man.
And after this game, when you were watching any other game during the night, anytime you saw a kicker make a field goal, it just made you mad.
Oh, well, we can go into this. This is a good segue to that. Do you think Mike Zimmer shouldn't have maybe let him make that many attempts yesterday? You missed one, that's whatever. You missed an extra point, all right, whatever. After that second field goal miss, I'm just going to go ahead and tell him, hey, dude, you're not doing this anymore today. When he came out for a third attempt at a field goal, I was baffled.
That I was actually talking to someone on Twitter during the game about that because, of course, it was the 2 sacks back to back that pushed them out of range of even thinking about going for it or anything like that. And I know what Mike Zimmer wanted to do. He wanted to give Dan Bailey a chance to hit a nice, longer field goal and get some of that confidence back. And, I know it might have been a little bit too late for the game, but there can be a lot when it comes to getting a kicker's confidence back, and it can be an absolute struggle. I know they wanted that to happen. So, yeah, I mean, I get where he was going with it. But, yeah, at that situation, there has to be that voice in the back of your head that says punt it.
Especially, and I've said this before, and I've been murdering people on the Facebook comment section because everybody always has all the right answers the day after a game. You've got to think about the field position that we were talking about earlier, and I'd mentioned, if some of these go a different way, the field position changes, and that makes Brady uncomfortable, especially on the other end. Even just a punt in that situation, you're not coming away with any points anyways. Now, you didn't know that because you would hope to get at least 3 points, but hindsight being what it is now, the Monday after, man, you could have pinned him within the 5 or the 10. I don't know, and nothing has been.
Well, if you got that hindsight, I don't think Dan Bailey would have been suited up for this game.
Yeah, that's true. And I hope we find out answers. I hope we figure it out. Maybe it's just one of those things. Because Pat McAfee, shout out to him. We were talking about him earlier. Watched him talking about it today. He's like, you hope that you see him make a comeback. You hope that he can figure it out. He's like, most of the time, it's just a mental thing, though. These guys do one or two things. They're doing kickoffs or they're trying to make it through the upright. He's like, most of the time, it's mental. So,
yeah, before this game, Mike Zimmer definitely said, I believe in our kicker, and he's having some issues, but we're going to work through them. And he came out to this game and he showed that he wasn't at the point yet where he was losing any sort of confidence. Now, that tone did change in the post-game presser, where he did talk about how they're going to have to wait and see how things go. And that there was a meeting with Rick Spielman, Mike Zimmer, Marlon Malouf. That's his name, right? The special teams coordinator.
Marlon Malouf.
Yeah. And there was a big meeting amongst all the coaches and not players, but all the coaches about what they're going to do with the kicking game and the special teams issues and everything. And I don't know what kind of decision they're going to make. The fact they have a kicker rostered on the practice squad should say a lot. And I'm expecting him to get elevated on Saturday. And if he does, then we're going to have some stories going on, because it's way too late in the season to have a veteran kicker who's been reliable his whole career and then bring on a practice squad kicker. Was that too much to mess with his psyche? Or is this something that maybe a little bit of competition will help? Or are you looking for that long-term answer? I don't envy the Vikings in trying to make these kind of decisions. A lot of the time, decisions are easy, whether they're financially or whether they involve personnel. This one's tough, especially considering you got Dan Bailey signed through 2023.
I was just trying to see if Kai Forbath was available. He plays for the Rams. Oh man, this is terrible. Man,
And
I feel
Kai's a
bad
nice
for
guy.
him.
I got to meet him in Minneapolis at a brewery when he was doing a signing, and he was doing a signing for charity, which was awesome. You
Thanks.
got to love that.
It's really nice of him.
Shook his hand and signed a football for me and everything, which was real cool.
Nice.
But yeah, I kind of felt that he was done dirty a little bit by the Vikings. So I don't know. I don't know how eager he would be to get back into that locker room. But maybe with the special teams coach gone and everything, I don't know where his grudges might lie. But hopefully there isn't too much.
Yeah, especially the same head coach here. He was a part of the Miracle team, wasn't he?
I believe so, yeah.
At least he had some good memories here. That's good. Well, that's all for the Buccaneers coverage. The Vikings will play the Chicago Bears in Minnesota this Sunday. Playoff implications are still high. Their percentage of chance went down a lot losing to the Bucs, but they still have a shot. They're not completely eliminated yet. So it's going to be interesting. I think the Vikings have a chance to squeak one out if Eric Kendricks plays, and it'll be close. For whatever reason, this team doesn't play well against Mitchell Trubisky. But there's still a lot to look forward to, and I can't believe it, man. There's only 3 regular season games left. This year has kind of flown by.
Anytime I hear the Viking staff say the word tweak now,
Oof.
I take it so poorly. Because, all we kept hearing is how Danielle Hunter has a little tweak. He's on the sideline. He'll be good to go. And he was not good to go. In fact, not good to go at all. And missing Eric Kendricks when you're already missing so many players. And when you think about it, this is the first year with Harris as a starting safety, right? Or is it second?
Second.
Because, there aren't a lot of returning starters that are still active on the roster at this point in the season.
Nope.
It's really sad to see, even though I think Mike Zimmer has done a really good job of changing up schemes and finding personnel to do what he could do.
I'm going to tell you right now, that guy's earned another stint to keep his job. People were calling for his head at 1-5. It didn't even cross my brain a few times. The fact that this team is right at 500 and almost a head above water, your whole defense minus 2 safeties, it's all backups and rookies. That's what it is. I just call it what it is. And it's nothing against these players, but most of these guys wouldn't be starting if there wasn't a torn pec, COVID, a neck injury, another neck injury. I mean, you could go down the list, but he bared with it, and he said, "Look, we're going to get this figured out. I can figure stuff out. I can adjust stuff." Shout out to him, man. I love that coach to death, and he's done a great job thus far. And even with the loss yesterday, watching what he does, because he's a defensive guy, this team defensively is getting better. I just think for this particular season, they've been outmatched just a little bit in every game that they've lost. And the future is bright. I think there are a lot of good players on the team. They just haven't reached their potential yet.
Now, if the Vikings don't make the playoffs this year, this follows in that trend of make the playoffs and miss the next year, right?
Yep, sure does.
Such a stupid trend.
Yep, mismade. This will be a miss in the 7th year.
Oh, brutal.
Which I think, and this is just a stupid thing to say because it's very, very obvious. But if we had all the people to play this year that weren't, like I just mentioned, torn a pec, neck, COVID, whatever, this team is absolutely in the postseason. Absolutely. That defense would be nasty. They're not here, though. So I'm not going to fault him too much for that because making do with what he had to do kind of on the fly, especially with no preseason, it's not as bad as it could have been. There are some bad teams in the league. So,
all right. So my question to you right now, and it's way too early for this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Uh-oh.
All right, first round of the draft comes along. You've got great players at every position available, all of equal value. What position are you going for?
Assuming we don't trade back and we're sitting at probably around 16, 14, somewhere around there. What is the absolute need that this team has to have? Can I split it? I'll give you an A and a B because I don't know who it is, truthfully. It's either the interior offensive line or it's a cornerback.
See, and you got Tom Hughes there saying offensive tackle, and I just still don't see that as being the biggest need at all. I mean, Riley Reef, he's at the point now where is this the final year of his deal?
I can look that up.
Yeah, because Brian O'Neill is going to be at that right tackle position no matter what. And honestly,
Bradbury's going to be at center.
Yep. The guards are still a question mark for sure. But if Riley Reef is still under contract for the next bit, then he should be the man going forward.
All right. He is 32, 2021. He is, oh God, he gets a big raise. Signed in 2020. 2021 is what he has a contract through.
Yeah.
13, almost $14 million. Whew.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like a lot, but for a guy that does his job pretty damn well, it's not in hindsight. Uh-oh, here you go. Reef is getting cut into the year. Why would he get cut?
Unless his guaranteed money is exceptionally low. I don't know. I'd have to take a look at his contract a little bit more and see how that all works out. But, I mean, you could make an argument for the best guard on the board. You could make an argument for the best wide receiver on the board. You could make an argument for the best linebacker on the board to replace Eric Wilson, pass rusher, defensive tackle, cornerback, of course, with Holton Hill being cut, of course. Safety, since they won't be able to bring Anthony Harris back.
Right now, dead money and cap savings. It doesn't have the list here. There's two options: 2.2 million and then 11,750. So if you cut him and that 11,750 sticks, that's more than you're even paying him to play right now. So
I don't think he's going anywhere.
I don't think so either, man. Reef, Rudolph, and Barr all cut due to cap space. I know. I'll agree with you on the Rudolph thing. I don't know about Barr. Maybe that's possible for the money.
The guaranteed money is still a bit much on Barr. I don't think they're going to cut him.
Kirk is great when he has time. When he does not have time, Kirk is not great. Thank you, Booker McFarland, for that great analysis.
That's no, amazing. Seriously, though, I mean,
that's a good
Kirk
point.
Cousins is a pocket passer. When he has time in the pocket to pick apart a defense, he does do very well. He's not one of those quarterbacks that's better off when he's scrambling or on the move and can make great throws on the run. That's not his game. That's not what you want him to do.
You want Kirk Cousins in play action, and you want a good run-heavy team. And what I love the most about Kirk is 90% of the time, if there's nothing there, he's going to throw it out of bounds and not do something stupid. He has one every once in a while. He's good for like one a season, like that Jacksonville pick six was stupid. But most of the time, he's not reckless with it, which I can completely appreciate.
I still say he might fumble a little bit too much, but when you're getting hit from every angle, I mean, sometimes that's something you can't really avoid too much.
You know, I can't say anything sitting from this lazy boy recliner chair thing that I have, because if I got tackled one time, like Johnny Knoxville did by Jared Allen and Jackass, I'd be like, yeah, my quarterback career is over. Thanks.
That's one of the things you and I had a conversation about when Kirk Cousins came to Minnesota. We were talking about his touchdowns and interception ratio.
Yeah.
And of course I had to talk about the fumbles. And that was one of my major concerns. And those fumbles, they're adding up. But a lot of them aren't his fault. I mean, we've had a couple that Dalvin Cook just didn't handle a handoff right, or the center had a bad snap. And a lot of those aren't on him, but on paper, they will be. Oh, hey, TwitchBot got us. Nice.
And I'm trying to hide it, too, and you can't do that. You know what? F you, TwitchBot.
I was just looking. I was like, yeah, we got a comment from Twitch. Oh, it's a bot.
Thanks a lot though for the view. Appreciate that. I take back the FU. No, you can have it back. FU Twitch botch. Thanks.
Yeah, so we've talked about the upcoming game against Chicago. Not going to be an easy one. Hopefully some of those banged up players can be there and help this team to try to get a win and stay in the playoff picture, because right now it's looking rough. Oh, I wish there were more Quentin Nelson type guards. I really
talked about this yesterday. We talked about this yesterday in our chat, John. Get out of our brains. I think Kyle West asked, would you take an offensive lineman with the top pick? I said, if I knew Quentin Nelson was available and I knew he would be that good, you're damn right I would take him.
He's one of those generational talents, and I hate to compare him to some other players, but man, I mean, if you can get a player who is absolutely dominant at his position, it doesn't matter what that position is. You draft him as early as possible. And we saw that with a lot of players. The Rams didn't make that mistake when it came to the interior of their D-line.
Oof.
Aaron Donald's an absolute
There's no way he should have been that low looking back on it now. There's
because
no
of his position. That's all it is. It's positional bias. And you'll see these flashy players. Now, the wide receivers will go early, and then you'll have the quarterbacks, which always go very early. Even running backs have started creeping back up draft boards. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is when it comes to that. But linemen, other than pass rushers, aren't really a premium, even though they're such big difference makers in a game. I mean, we talked about that with Tristan Wirfs a little earlier.
Yeah. You heard his name in the draft this year. You knew he wasn't going to be around. A lot of people wanted him to fall to the Vikings, and that wasn't happening.
No, not at all.
Oh, man, my buddy Dave is texting me about this Browns game. Browns kickers missed a field goal and a PAT so far. He goes, what the hell is up with these kickers this week?
It's been weird this week. It really has.
I want to put these stats out here just because they make me laugh. Baker Mayfield is 16 of 31, 192 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Lamar Jackson is 5 of 8 for 74 yards. They're up 28-20. Lamar Jackson, 9 carries, 124 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Oh, my God.
It's like watching a college football game, I bet.
That's crazy. Whew. NFL is fun. This is a lot of fun. I enjoy this.
More Twitch chat bots. That's what we need.
Hey, as long as you're watching, that's cool. Let's do some promotions here. Why don't we?
All right. Over on the Viking Age, I've been putting out a little bit of content over there. My weekly MVP pieces, along with the power rankings and best and worst. I go pretty in depth on all the games this season with those pieces. And lately, I've been doing some articles as well about important games to watch when it comes to the Vikings playoff picture. So keep an eye on it for my work over there. Also, there's a very talented team of writers there, as well as on undeadwalking.com, which is a lot of fun because there's a lot of zombie stuff going on. The Walking Dead holiday special aired on Sunday, and you got to see a look at a little bit different kind of stuff there. And of course, both of those have apps. They can get your app store, whether you're an Apple user or Android. So check those out. Twitch, I've got an account over there, MN Viking Zombie. You can come on, you can play games with me. I've started playing a little bit of Words on Stream over there, which is kind of like a word where you find anagrams from jumbled letters. And as a team, you try to clear the board. And it's a little bit more of a casual game, a little bit more relaxing, but why not? I still play some Jackbox over there too, so please go on and check me out. And Mr. Smith's finally going to announce that he's going to take his music to Twitch
soon. And TikTok too, because my friends have peer pressured me to be a younger person. I'm 32. I have no business being on TikTok. It's a lot of fun. It's a black hole of entertainment, but I'm going to do it. And you know what I'll do next time? I'll promote the crap out of it on my other social media. I usually go live on Facebook and Instagram at the same time. I'm going to go live on Twitch and TikTok at the same time next time I go, just to give it a whirl and try to build a following.
Absolutely.
Definitely will. I'm going to give this guy a shout out. If you go here to redbubble.com/people/phantasm digital, you can get this stuff right here. I'm going to put up on the screen. Very excited to show you Kyle West's stuff here. This is his shop from Phantasm Digital. He's a great photographer, man. And if you look through the Purple People podcast stuff, we'll just click on this clock here because we can. You can get this on just about anything. You can get our logo here on a shower curtain, a t-shirt, a clock, your phone
We got to
case.
talk to Mr. West about getting the new logo on some merch because that new logo is real sharp.
It's really good stuff. I love supporting both of these guys because they could always use your help, bring in some extra dough, but they also put out very good work, and it's a lot of fun to watch you guys do your thing. So check those guys out. If you get a chance, you can support some local businesses, what have you. Play that music, white boy. I asked Thomas Bugge, what is he talking about when it said that's a good running back? He's making the joke about Lamar Jackson. I feel like an idiot for not getting that. Thanks, man.
Come on, man. Come on.
I was thinking about that yesterday. I was at work, and there's a lot of times I just have to stand there with my dog just to be seen by the public. And I was thinking about how like a whole year changes and how Mark Ingram came out and it's like, big trust, MVP. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Y'all want to come see me outside the bank? And I was like, ooh, that did not age well at all.
No.
Oh, man, that's so funny. Good. That was a good joke, Thomas. I'm just an idiot. Thank you.
But yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying the new upgrades that we put forth to the podcast. I know we haven't talked a lot about it, but Mr. Smith has been doing quite a bit here to help us get this podcast looking and feeling a little bit more professional. And I think he's done a very good job. And Mr. West made some graphics for us to make everything look shiny and new. So we all appreciate that. And meanwhile, I haven't really done much of anything, but I've been here along for the ride. So I appreciate it, Kyles. Thanks.
That's not true. Adam Carlson, we will give him all the thanks in the world. You know why? Because he started this thing. And without him, we wouldn't be here right now talking to you guys. So thank you.
400 whatever episodes in.
Hey, you helped build it from pre-recorded Skype sessions. I'll never forget that. And now look at us, This looks pretty cool.
I still remember sitting there with a script.
Oh yeah. Trying to do a show and do the producer stuff. It's crazy. It just gives me personally more respect for the shows that I love. Like McAfee's got a whole crew, and Dan Le Batard, of course. You guys know I love that show. Seeing how much work actually goes into doing something like this, because we're just doing this out in internet land. You imagine being on ESPN and having to be a professional and just get people to like what you're saying just by your inflection and your analysis, all that stuff. I'm just glad we have people in here talking about good job, play your music, white boy, and Instagram and Twitch bots. That's cool.
Yeah.
This is a lot of fun.
Maybe one day we'll get a message from an actual person on Twitch. But yeah, if you guys want to help us out, heading over to Twitch, giving us a follow, turn on the notifications if you want to watch us over there. That's cool too. But right now we are really looking to grow that Twitch channel because I'd be reaching out to a whole new audience. And it'd be really cool to have more people chatting in the comments here and bring a little bit more discussion, personality, and ideas to the chat, to the group. So yeah, please do that. Also, the guys have been doing a real good job of bringing content to the Facebook page for you guys to discuss. So I appreciate that. And as always, you can find me on social media as well, MN Viking Zombie. If there's a social media platform, there's a good chance there's an MN Viking Zombie on there. Not TikTok, though. I'm way too old for that.
It's a lot of fun. Before we go, I know this has nothing to do with anything, but I just thought it was super funny. I'm a huge North Carolina Tar Heel fan. That's where I'm from. I got the tattoo right here, if I can point to it correctly, looking in the thing. I love them. That's my home state. Their football team's doing really well this year. Mac Brown used to coach at Texas. I believe he helped them get a national title not so long in the distant past. But he has ties with Carolina. He came back. He's trying to give it one last go. He's up there in age. But I thought it was super funny that the UNC Tar Heels beat the crap out of the Miami Hurricanes this weekend in a football game. And he comes in and starts doing the gritty with all the guys.
Oh, no.
It is one of the best things I've seen on social media, and I'll have to share it with you in the group. But the gritty's making its way around all of the leagues, and I am here for it. And that is my new favorite thing. So
I still don't understand that dance, but I'm 40
I don't
years
either.
old.
I don't either, but it's just fun. Every time I see it, I always get happy. So it's Gritty season. Happy holidays to everyone. Thank you. I'm gonna put this up one more time. If you will subscribe on the YouTube channel and hit that notification bell, I schedule these shows in advance, so it'll let you know what time we're gonna go live. Facebook only lets you go live early, like 10 minutes, but we have everything scheduled. I always try to tell everyone at least an hour in advance, but thank you guys for tuning in, and just keep on liking all this stuff. Give it a like, comment on it if you want to, just to build that following up. But
yeah, you can always check out the archive of old shows. All of them are on YouTube, which I don't know why you'd want to go back and watch them, but you could. Usually there's a few weeks worth on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on. I believe we're still on Spotify. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I mean, we've got so many places you can find us on. Google Podcasts, Podomatic, Stitcher, and so many other platforms. If there's a place to find a podcast, you'll probably find us. We're around. And I think Mr. Smith is checking.
We're on Spotify, and it just doesn't have an update of
last week's episode isn't up.
Oh, it's up. There it is. It's just titled weird. Yeah, it's on there. So
all right.
We'll get it up once I upload everything. And I'm sorry, guys. I just want to apologize. If you're looking for this later and it doesn't come out, like in a perfect world, we would do this right after the game, but the schedules don't always align. For whatever reason, the way that we process these videos usually takes me about 24 hours because I try to get it on immediately, but the video hasn't fully published and uploaded to YouTube yet. So sorry if we take a little while to upload these. That's why you should watch live so you can get it right then and there. But I'll get them out to you as soon as I can. I promise.
And also now you can watch the replay on YouTube, or you can go and watch the replay on Twitch, because you can do that in both spots. And I believe there's no wait for processing on Twitch, I believe.
Ooh, that's nice. Man, I might have to start doing that.
So yeah, thanks again for everyone for joining in here. We enjoyed having you in the chat, asking some questions, making some comments. It's always a lot of fun interacting with other Minnesota Vikings fans, and we'll do it again next week. Some combination of us anyway. So thank you once again from the Purple Podcast, guys, and we'll see you next week. Stay classy, Minnesota.